The capital is on fire. There is a fire alarm in Moscow city, fires in Moscow's Lyubertsy district. They are without power. The situation in occupied Crimea is critical. Aksionov Goblin warned the locals that miracles don't happen. Penza has once again come under attack from the good drones. Ukrainian greetings hit a factory that produces goods for military equipment and the defense industry. The Kadyrovites are blaming the bunker-dwelling Ok commander for failures at the front and are demanding that he be held accountable. Putin's oligarchs have also wavered due to the loss of huge sums of money. They are demanding an end to the war. Putin's flotilla has set course for Turkey. Are they really taking away what was stolen? Following Putin's yacht graceful towards Bodrum, another one of his yachts has also set off. The 71-meter Victoria. The American tax authorities have taken an interest in Philipp Kirkorov. The US Treasury has taken notice of the King of Pop's luxurious villa in Miami. Hello everyone, my name is Fedor Shilenko, and now we'll discuss all the most important and high-profile topics. What people are talking about in the world, in Ukraine, and of course beyond the edge of civilization. Everything that's trending. Let's get started. Ukrainian ballistics in the Moscow region. Missiles attacked the Moscow region. At first, it was assumed that air defense had shot down a flamingo flying toward Moscow. But Z channels claim that the explosion occurred too high up. Neither drones nor cruise missiles fly that high. That's why the Z supporters suggest that the long-awaited Ukrainian ballistic missile might have reached the Moscow region.
How's this shaking?
What do you think? Could Kyiv have launched a ballistic missile at Moscow and the Moscow region? And if so, how will Butler react to this? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new trending episodes. Also, let us know which country you're watching from and whether you support Ukraine in its fight against the occupiers. It's a small thing for you, but unpleasant for the Kremlin. An accident and blackout in Moscow and the region. An explosion occurred at a power plant in the Moscow region. Major power supply problems have been reported in Lyubertsy and Kotelniki. Local officials confirmed that the accident affected a high-voltage node of the Rossetti company. Meanwhile, a fire alarm went off in the Federation Tower in Moscow City. Everyone was urgently evacuated. In the south, the Mariupol-Donetsk highway was paralyzed. Drones with a 200-kilogram warhead continue to destroy bridges in the occupied territories. Successful strikes are complicating the occupiers' logistics throughout the entire occupied Donbas, in Crimea, and along the land corridor to the peninsula. Meanwhile, in Penza, Ukrainian sanctions hit a developer of sensors and electronics for aviation equipment. The products of this defense industry facility are used in airplanes, helicopters, and various types of weaponry, in particular in the intercontinental ballistic missiles Bulava, Topol-M, Sineva, and the Iskander missile systems. The joint stock company is part of the state corporation Roscosmos. In addition to missiles, the enterprise supplies sensors and measurement systems for the Su-34 and
Su-57. Well, it was closed back then, yes. I agree.
In addition, Ukrainian drone sanctions have once again hit the oil refinery in Ufa. The drones covered a distance of 1,300 kilometers. The security service is targeting the production of Russian Iskanders. An interesting detail about today's strike on Penza. This is the third strike on military facilities involved in production of Iskanders in the last 10 days. Before that, on June 22nd, cruise missiles bombed the Voronezh semiconductor plant. It produced electronics, microchips, and semiconductors for Russian ballistic missiles. And on June 27th, Ukrainian flamingos paid a visit to Volgograd. Cruise missiles struck the Titan Barricades plant, which produced launchers for Iskanders. The head of occupied Crimea, Goblin Aksionov, once again delighted the Crimeans. According to him, there is no reason to expect large-scale gasoline deliveries in the near future. Moreover, he also warned about possible problems with electricity supply. There's no money, no gasoline, and there might not even be electricity, but hang in there.
Dear Crimeans, the fuel crisis situation continues. I ask you to be patient. There will be no large volumes of fuel for sale in the near future, but the Minister of Fuel and Energy will provide daily updates. As for the main concerns currently coming from Crimeans, the issue is the unfair distribution of electricity. Today, a working meeting was held with the participation of all deputies, utility providers, and all heads of administration from every single municipality, without exception. The main task for today, by the end of the day, is to try taking into account technical capabilities, and for now, without exception, to establish a fair distribution of electricity.
Across the vast expanse of Russia, there are enormous, endless lines for gasoline. Only 2 regions remain before a complete fuel collapse in the great and mighty country. The only federal subjects where restrictions have not yet been introduced are Kalmykia and Chukotka. But even that won't last long. In 3 regions, the authorities have already introduced a heightened support regime. In some places, gasoline is being distributed with ration cards. In some places, it's limited to 15 to 30 liters. And in the Oriel region, they even decided to refuel cars based on the last digit of the license plate. Not only is there a catastrophic shortage of gasoline and it's of poor quality, but the price has also risen significantly. Fuel prices have surpassed 100 rubles per liter. Independent gas stations not affiliated with major oil companies have started selling gasoline at retail for 120 and even 140 rubles per liter. Against the backdrop of the fuel crisis, speculators have started to appear. In Irkutsk, police detained 2 local residents who tried to resell gasoline at speculative prices of 300 and 250 rubles per liter. Russians are panicking and are increasingly stealing and siphoning gasoline from each other.
Without asking, borrow a flexible hose from your neighbor and put it deeper into your mouth.
Valka Stakan urged Russians not to moan and groan, but to look for solutions. The head of the Federation Council admitted that problems with gasoline remain serious, especially in the midst of the harvest campaign. According to her, the government is already taking the necessary measures. But it won't be possible to solve the issue quickly. At the same time, Valentina Matvienko urged her fellow citizens to obediently stand in kilometer-long lines at gas stations and not to dramatize the situation.
You understand, I won't go into detail about them right now. We will get out of this difficult situation, which, as is clear, has been deliberately created for us by certain people. We shouldn't dramatize or despair, but instead look for a solution together.
Beyond the Urals, people are spending several days in line at gas stations. More and more gas stations are closing. People in the lines are getting nervous, fighting, and blaming each other for all sorts of things.
Look, what are you doing? Are you an idiot or what? What are you doing? This car right here, a guy ran out and threatened me with a knife and slashed my tires. Because he thought I cut in line, ahead of him at the gas station.
At first, the Kremlin plans to solve the problem by importing fuel from abroad. But even here, the bunker strategists face disgrace, failure, and defeat. Kazakhstan refused Moscow's request for additional fuel supplies. Putin asked Tokayev for 50,000 tons of fuel. But the president of Kazakhstan refused, citing repairs at one of Kazakhstan's refineries. From a country of gas stations to a parking lot and then to a country of auto repair shops. Because of cheap diluted fuel, cars are breaking down en masse in Russia. The quality of the fuel is so poor that hundreds of Russians have gone to get their cars fixed and to improve the financial situation of auto repair shops.
I don't understand what's going on. I filled up at a normal gas station, Lukoil. What's going on? They were just pouring my gasoline from Rosneft, which I had in a canister, and I decided to put on a nylon stocking. Here's what was in the gasoline.
Crimea is on fire. The SBU struck the Saki airfield on the occupied peninsula. The special services stated that the attack is part of a previously announced 40-day operation. 5 strikes on hangars used for storing aircraft have been confirmed. According to intelligence, Su-30 and Su-30 SM fighter jets, each worth about $40 million, were located in 2 of them. Each. KHE, unintelligible or expletive context needed. Russian nepotism. In all its glory. Either Kadyrov Jr. gets orders and medals, or Putin Jr. gets lucrative positions and power. The bunker villain handed out new posts to his niece, Anna Civileva.
The dictator's relative already works as Deputy Minister of Defense and heads the State Fund Defenders of the Fatherland. Both positions are very profitable. Now Putin has included her in the Presidential Council for Strategic Development of the National Project, as well as in the Presidium of this council. The decree was signed yesterday and immediately came into force. Anna Civileva's merits are insignificant. She is Putin's cousin and her maiden name was the same as his. Civileva's husband, Sergei, former head of Kuzbas, is now the Minister of Energy and a member of the Government Council for Army Support.
The Kadyrovites want to ask Putin a question. A close associate of Kaptel Udinov and Ramzan Kadyrov, Zetvenko Rakhmat. Sergei Aliyev criticized the Russian authorities led by Putin.
I said that when Ukraine has a sufficient number of drones in terms of range, yes, meaning ones that can reach deep into Russia, well, not even deep, just 100 to 200 kilometers in, that will already be hell for us. Well, that's exactly what's happening now. Zelensky is saying, let's sit down at the negotiating table already, right? And Vladimir Vladimirovich says, no, we're not going to do that. Meanwhile, people are dying every day. I would like to ask a question to the Supreme Commander-in-Chief. The man whom the people of Russia have trusted and elected for more than 20 years now. People are dying every day.
The Z supporter is calling to stop the fighting because of the colossal losses at the front, which can no longer be concealed. In other words, Ramzan's personal propagandist is speaking out against the war, discrediting the army and the authorities.
I want to address the head of the Russian state, Vladimir Vladimirovich, after all. More than 4 years of war. Not a special military operation, but a war, no matter how much they tried to cover it up with that term in 2022. But people, thank God, chose to call it a war because that's what it is, a war. If more than 1 million soldiers from our side alone have died, how many civilians? We see this war without any sugarcoating, not sitting at home watching TV or on Telegram channels, but we've seen it firsthand. That's why I can't understand how, for what reason. I mean, even if we're talking about a drug addict, Zelensky already has started to realize that an agreement needs to be made. But I hope that we too will come to understand that the bear is already half bleeding out.
The Russian elites are becoming allies of the Kadyrovites in the matter of stopping the war. Even the oligarchs have wavered due to the loss of enormous amounts of money. Previously, the dictator began gradually squeezing business and assets from billionaires who were not sufficiently loyal to the regime. Then he introduced a sort of medieval tribute that the owners of Russia must pay for the war. And now, when propagandists and officials started talking about the expropriation of the banking sector, the head of Sberbank, Herman Gref, spoke out, not against the war, but rather for the swiftest possible end to the hostilities.
Well, what concerns us, I think we're all worried about the same thing. So I don't think there is anyone in the country who has any other concerns besides the swiftest possible conclusion of military actions. That's obvious.
The Navy is protecting the shopping-loving mistress. Putin's yachts have sailed from Russia's northern ports. Russian media are reporting that Alina Kabaeva may have gone on vacation to Turkey. 2 of Putin's super yachts, Graceful and Victoria, are heading toward Bodrum. The sea palaces of the Russian dictator are guarded by military escorts. A patrol boat.
It passed through Danish waters. First, the vessel passed through the Great Belt Strait. Then it set course for the northern tip of Denmark. The yacht is accompanied by serious security, namely 2 Russian warships, a destroyer, and a patrol boat.
And what do you think? Are they going on vacation or are they taking out stolen goods? Write your thoughts in the comments. Also give us a like and mention the country you're watching from. It's a small thing for you, but unpleasant for Putin. Meanwhile, Kabaeva is sailing through the Baltic waters. At the same time, the Russian authorities are closing the land border with NATO countries. Starting July 1st, the Kremlin is closing 7 railway checkpoints on the border with Finland, Estonia, and Latvia. Some experts see this as a sign of preparations for new acts of aggression in the north. The American tax authorities have taken an interest in the Russian king of pop. The US Treasury has taken note of Philipp Kirkorov's luxurious villa in Miami. As a result of the inspections, it became known that the palace of the pro-Putin artist in the enemy's lair is worth more than $6 million. And every year, the man who likes to enter through the wrong door pays almost $80,000 in taxes to the American budget. Let me remind you that Kirkorov supports the war and Putler, yet still regularly visits Western countries.
No way. Is that you? Can I have a photo with you, please? Can I have a photo with you, please? Please, can I have just one photo with you? You can't post it online? All right, I promise you. Posting is not allowed, okay? Thank you very much. I've been waiting for you. I'm trash.